What's good, folks? We back, and today we talking about the most tragic moment in each character's life in The Walking Dead. Now, before we start, I gotta set some rules. Listen, the character's death can't be their most tragic moment, cause I feel like tragedy is what leads up to the death, or what they had to live with. So first up, we gonna talk about Lee. Now Lee, this man, he went through a lot. I had to think long and hard about his most tragic moment. And I gotta say, it all started in the drugstore where he figured out that his brother died and his entire family is gone. And this man basically lost everything. And the only thing that was keeping him up afloat was Clementine, someone he could have taken care of. And I think this actually leads into the biggest tragic moment. And the biggest tragic moment for Lee ever, it gotta be when Clementine sees her parents as walkers. Because, listen, this man, he tried everything to protect her, and he didn't want her going through the same thing that he went through not too long ago. Cause this man, he had to bottle it up inside, cause he didn't break down at the drugstore. Nah, he kept it in. And I feel like he kept it in for Clem. I will say though, the runner up to this was him getting bit, cause that single bite, it meant he wouldn't be able to protect Clementine anymore. And it was the moment this man realized it was wraps, his time was up. Now let's talk about Clementine. Now I was tempted to put her losing AJ briefly in season 3, cause for someone who lost so much already, being separated from AJ, hey, that was a tragic moment. But I think we all know what her most tragic moment was. Listen, she had to grow up fast, and nothing could have really prepared her to watch Lee die like that. She had to say goodbye to the person who protected her and gave her hope. And the worst thing about it is that she either had to pull the trigger or walk away. Listen, she was 8 years old when that happened. I feel like that broke her, but it also shaped who she became in the long run. Now I'm gonna tell you right now, this video is gonna be a sad one, so if I start breaking down in the middle of it, hey, don't mind me, I just get emotional sometimes, man. Now let's talk about Kenny. And we all know this man, he got a lot of tragic moments in his life. I gotta say, losing Katja, it gotta be his most tragic moment. Listen, Duck, he was already dying, there was no hope left, and in the middle of all this chaos, Katja, she decided that she didn't want to be there no more. Listen, in this moment, Kenny, he didn't just lose his wife, but he lost her in the most painful way possible. And in this man's time of need, listen, him losing Katja with the way the Duck just dying on his shoulders, like, that's a whole lot all in one day. That's why I say losing Katja, it was the worst thing for him, because it all just piled up on with losing Duck and everything else. Notable mention though, him losing Sarita. But I'm gonna be honest, ain't nobody remember no Sarita. Hey, I'm just being, hey, I ain't gotta be truthful. Rip Sarita, man, rip Sarita. Now let's talk about Alvin Jr. We talking about AJ. I think we all know this man, he already been through a lot, even though he just 5-year-old. But I gotta say, his most tragic moment is almost losing Clementine. Cause it seemed like she was finna get packed up. She was on her deathbed, kinda in a similar way to Lee. And I know that affected this man, even if she would have survived. But I gotta say, one thing that I was really tempted to say that this was AJ's most tragic moment. I'm talking about when AJ had to pack up 10, man, to keep everybody else safe. Now, I know it could be different depending on your choices, but I feel like if you don't trust AJ, then I feel like that's just as tragic too, because looking up to somebody and knowing that they don't trust you no matter what you do, that's just as painful. To be fair, I put those two neck and neck with the tragic moment. Listen, I say Clementine almost getting packed up, that edges it out just by a little bit. Just a little though. Now let's talk about Lily. Now Lily, as much as Larry was a joke to us, and he was still her father, and in a split second, without warning, he gets his head splattered right in front of her. And that moment, it really shattered, and she never really trusted anybody again, and you could see how that really changed Lily as a person. And her runner-up, I gotta say, it gotta be getting abandoned, or else just feeling abandoned by the group after Larry's death. That isolation, it really made her spiral into something completely different. Cause if you think about it, after that time, even though she did pop Carly, I feel like she probably needed somebody to talk to, somebody to help her out with all of that. But instead, she was isolated. Well, now that I think about it, that man Larry, he got done the dirtiest way possible. Not only do you have to eat human meat, but you gotta have a heart attack and get your head squished right before it. Oh my gosh. He got what he deserved now I think about it. I still feel a little bit sad for Lily though. Now let's talk about Jane. Now Jane, it gotta be losing her sister Jamie. Now, we never seen it happen, but the way Jane talk about it, it makes it one of the most gut-wrenching parts of her backstory. Listen, Jamie gave up. She stopped trying to survive, and Jane had to live with it. And that explains why Jane is so cold and distanced. Now listen, I think if we would have actually got to play that flashback, play as a younger Jane, we probably would have liked the character a whole lot more and felt more connection toward her. Cause I ain't trying to hear no story, this happened to me, I'm trying to see it, I'm trying to feel what you feeling. Hey, I ain't saying we need a whole arc with Jane, I'm just saying give us a little bit of insight to what really happened. Now, let's talk about Sarah. Now for Sarah, I gotta say Sarah, it was her being left behind. Cause Sarah, she was never made for the world, she lived in a bubble, and once that bubble popped, she couldn't even cope. So if you left her behind in the trailer, she realized that nobody there to save her, and the world moving on without her. And even Clementine can't protect her. It's kind of messed up. You should have backhanded the hell out of her again to give her memories of her father. But instead, she just sits there. She finally realizes what's going on in the world in her last moments. And seeing that she just got left behind, I feel like that last second, that split second before she got eaten, that was her most tragic moment. I gotta say, her runner-up, it gotta be watching Carlos get popped like that, cause that was a tough way to go, and I know it hurt her a lot. But I think her self-realization was a little bit more tragic. Now we talking about Christia. For Krista, her most tragic moment, it gotta be losing Omid, cause listen, Omid, he was the one who was there for her all that time, and losing him, it really broke her. Listen, it broke her, and I felt like it was a haunting experience. That's why she was such a shell of herself. Now, a notable mention, it would be losing her child, but it's not really shown on screen. But you gotta know, that gotta be a really tragic moment for her. Now, let's talk about somebody else. We talking about Ben. Listen, Ben, we all know his most tragic moment. It was when he admitted that he got all those people killed, and he wasn't some evil person, he not some evil traitor. He was just a scared kid who thought he was doing the right thing and helping. And at that moment, he finally took accountability, because it's still his fault at the end of the day. Now I feel like his runner-up, it could be him seeing his teacher get his leg chopped off. But at the same time, if I was Ben, I'd be thinking bruh, how you get your leg trapped in a bear trap? How you more useless than me? I don't even think this was that tragic for Ben, for real. It was just a little wake-up call, But let's talk about Bonnie. Now Bonnie, her most tragic moment, it gotta be in 400 Days In. Because listen, when she went and knocked D upside the head and then hid the truth, I feel like that guilt, it never left her. But she's still a terrible person. Now let's talk about Walter. Now Walter, it gotta be losing Matthews. Listen, Walter, he was a kind person, and that's kind of rare in this world. When he learns that Nick shot Matthew, you just see the spark in him die. This man, his soul gone, and he still tried to keep the peace even afterwards. Now let's talk about Marlon. Now with Marlon, I gotta say his most tragic moment, it gotta be one-shotting Brody. She was his voice of reason, and once she was gone, it was his last chance to do the right thing. And you could see in his eyes the regret, the pain. But I want to give out some honorable mentions to some of the characters that, their life was a little too short to really dive deep into what tragic moment they had. But let's talk about Mark. You all know, Mark, that man, his tragic moment, it kind of had to be at the end, because he was still alive when he was getting eaten. So I gotta say, yeah, that was the worst moment ever. This man, he's still alive. They still downstairs, Larry feasting on this man's leg while this man's still breathing in the bathtub. Oh my gosh, that's actually insane. And another person I want to talk about, Reggie. Now Reggie, he was trying his best to be the best man he could be, just trying to stay on Carver Good's side. And we don't get to see too much into his life, but if I had to guess, his most tragic moment, I'd say losing his arm. Cause hey, that's a big thing to lose. And apparently, Carver saved him. So I feel like that moment, it made him indicted to Carver a little bit. But do you think the tragic moments that I picked for each character was right? Or do you think I kind of got it wrong and they went through something a little bit more tragic that changed them even more? But if you like the video, like, subscribe, hit the notification bell if you wanna. And hey, I got some fun coming up, so be on the lookout. But with that being said, we out. It's all still rains. Hit the subscribe.